The Florida Panthers pulled off an amazing comeback win and upset the Boston Bruins in 7 games, winning Game 7 in overtime. Armando Velez of Locked On Florida Panthers joins us to talk about how the Panthers pulled off this historic upset and to look ahead to round 2. Gil Martin here. The Locked On Road to the Stanley Cup continues as we welcome Armando Velez from Locked On Florida Panthers to take stock of Florida's big first-round upset of the Boston Bruins and their chances to continue on to make a deep playoff run. Armando, an amazing comeback, a dramatic win on the road in Game 7, down in the series 3-1, down in the game. Talk to me. How did the Florida Panthers pull off this upset?
They pulled it off by just continuing to pin the Boston Bruins in their own zone, taking away the neutral zone. And you saw in that overtime, if you watched the game, I mean, the Panthers controlled the play in the offensive zone as well. And it's crazy. The Bally Sports Florida crew pointed this out. The two top scoring teams in the third period happened to be in the same series, the Boston Bruins and the Florida Panthers. And during the regular season, the Florida Panthers had the third period was their worst period of in the regular season. Just I believe it was like minus 15 goal differential for this season. And this is with giving up 11 power play goals in the series, 44% for the Boston Bruins on the power play. But even like 5-on-5 scoring, timely goaltending, and no passengers for the Florida Panthers, more importantly. And really it started after Game 5, getting the overtime winner by Matthew Tkachuk. He guaranteed that the Florida Panthers would be back in that locker room, and just incredible. I'm still running on a little bit of adrenaline from the game-winning goal. This isn't even half hour after the game-winning goal by Carter Verhaeghe. Listen, 2 years in a row that Carter Verhaeghe is the one that scores the overtime winner for the Florida Panthers. He did it in Game 6 against the Washington Capitals on the road too. More, mind you. And fun fact, Eric Staal, he's 6-0 in Game 7s in his career.
Wow.
So now that little Staal magic that he has on the Florida Panthers. And third Game 7 in Cats history, my very first Panthers game that I watched, 2012 Game 7 at home against the New Jersey Devils. They won the division, and Adam Henrique scores the game-winning goal at Bank Atlantic Center at the time. And this was full circle moment for yours truly here. And now after 26 years of not winning a playoff series, the Florida Panthers do it 2 years in a row where they advance to the second round.
Very impressive. Who would you say was the series MVP for Florida?
I gotta say it's Brandon Montour for the Panthers, just coming up clutch in this series as well. Matthew Tkachuk is another one for the Panthers as well. And even I wouldn't say Sergei Bobrovsky is an MVP conversation for this series because he didn't come in until game 4, excuse me. But you gotta give credit to Montour and Tkachuk on the night on in the series. And this was a series also with their captain Alexander Barkov not making impact in the series, mostly at least at the offensive end. And they once again they did it with questionable penalty killing as well.
So they still overcame it. Was there a potential weakness exposed in this series that the Panthers will need to address in the next round? I'm assuming the penalty kill is a leading candidate for that.
Yeah, it's crazy because I wasn't really looking ahead to the next round, literally until they won the game. It's funny because Leaf fans were chanting after their Game 6 wins, saying we want Florida, and I was thinking, okay, I'm focused on the Boston Bruins, but the Toronto Maple Leafs, at least last time I checked, their power play was second in the NHL in the entire league. And that's the thing for the Panthers, and that what was exposed in the series for them. It's just untimely penalties, even though there's one penalty that was very questionable that that was towards the end of the second period going into the third, where Brandon Montour got a penalty against David Pastrnak, and then Sam Bennett was hit by I believe it was Orlov. Clean hit, but if you're going to call that on Montour, should have been called on Orlov as well there. But too often they've gone to the box. But listen, Gil, the Florida Panthers are now playing with house money here. Just to recap any of the circumstances for the Panthers coming into this season, for those who don't follow the team, prior to the 2021 season, they bought out Keith Yandel. This was supposed to be the last year of his contract, so the majority of that dead cap buyout money is on the books for the Panthers. They couldn't re-sign Claude Giroux. They couldn't re-sign Mason Marchment. They couldn't re-sign Ben Sherratt. They had to go these little one-year deals to keep afloat. They made that trade for Matthew Tkachuk that had the Panthers at a crunch. They started the year with 20 skaters because of the cap. And of course, LTIR helped them with Patrick Hornquist's injury, helping them activate Anthony Duclair to the lineup. So the Panthers were playing with this crunch all season long. And they with a new head coach too, Paul Maurice, they brought him in for that playoff style hockey. And at most in the beginning of January, they were 9 points out of the final wild card spot, and they never gave up. And game 41, which was January 8th against the Dallas Stars, they were 18, 19, and 4. And second half surging, whole injury to Sam Bennett as well, that the Panthers went on a 4-game losing streak, and then they go 6-1-1 towards the end. And I was at game 82 for the Panthers against the Carolina Hurricanes. A lot of people were saying, oh, they should have, and you know this because of course you follow the Islanders, Gil. A lot of Panther fans were saying, oh man, they're going to regret not winning game 82 for their chance to play the New Jersey Devils instead. But it didn't matter. They and the boost that the Panthers had after game 2 when Sam Bennett came back, man, that did so many wonders for the Panthers. And let's also talk about one thing that I feel like that the Florida Panthers outcoached the Bruins here too. So many different juggles of panic, and look at the Boston Bruins also going with Jeremy Swayman in game 7. Even prior to that, I was saying, no way you should put your Vezina Trophy goalie on the bench when he's proven to you all year. And the Panthers have beat Swayman twice in the regular season too, both at home. But it was also a matter of Paul Maurice outcoaching Jim Montgomery in this series too.
All right. Well, Armando, I'm assuming that this win means that this playoff year has been a success for the Florida Panthers. All right. Well,
yes,
hopefully they move ahead now to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Should be a very exciting series. Armando, thank you so much. That does it for our Florida Panthers round 1 recap here on the road to the Stanley Cup. Be sure to subscribe to Locked On Florida Panthers for free on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.